Okay, so I'm hoping this is going to be a quick video just to introduce you to the sweep command. So sweep command is something you use quite a lot in your higher graphics. It's also known by the SQA as to extrude along a path, and you'll see why that is. So what is a sweep? If we look at this little watering can here, it's made up of a bunch of extrusions, isn't it? This spout here, we took a circle and then we've extruded it in a straight line to meet the body. But what about if I don't want that sweep to be a straight line? For example, this handle here follows a curve. If you look at this coat hanger here again, you've got a curve shape, and then this little thing in here is a paper clip. Now you could make those features in this example with a extrusion. We could draw the shape of that, and we could just extrude it, and then we could have cut it inside. See, there's a little profile part, but that would be a bit of a faff. So we've got a shape like that. The best thing is to extrude it. Now to sweep it. If you're going to sweep something, you need two things. You need a profile. So if I look at this here, this example here, this profile of the coat hanger is going to be a like an eye shape. So we're going to draw that profile, and then you need a path. And for this one, the path is going to be something that follows that shape. So it's going to be curve. So it could be any shape we want. We're going to need to have some straight lines and some curved lines, some arcs. And we're going to have to lock that to the right size. But if you take that profile that you've drawn, you can then force the sort of extrusion to follow, rather than a straight line, but to follow all around this shape. And you can get more complicated, more interesting shapes created. Same with that paper clip. That example of there, it's just going to be a circle there, a circular path. If I spin around, there we go. So we've got a circular profile, and it's following this sort of interlocking path. So how do we do that? I've got a bunch of stuff for you to do here. I've got some simple shapes to start you off with. So just simple sweep, so it's going to just come up and along or up and around. This one's got an angle in it as well, a couple of curves, and this one here has got actually in 3 dimensions, so that's quite a challenge. You'll have to think about different planes maybe. I'll also get you to model the paperclip and the coat hanger. So let's start off. We start off with this first one here, task 1. What have we got? We've got a circular profile, so it's a circle all the way along, 10 mil diameter, and then we've got this straight line going up 100. We've got a 90-degree curve with a radius of 50. Now, if you look closely, the radius curve is actually down the center of the sweep. It's not the edge; it's down the middle. So when I put my profile and path together, I need to make sure that they're joined in the right place so that they end up creating that actual shape. Okay, so let's go to a part. What we're going to start with, the profile. So I'm going to draw a sketch on the top, and that's going to be 10, circle of 10 there. That's the shape I want to extrude along the path, so it's going to come up somewhere up here. Next thing I need is to draw the path. Now the path is going to be at 90 degrees to that. It's going to be coming up this front plane. Now, really important when you're drawing your profile and your path together is to make sure that they actually connect. If they don't connect, there's a gap, they won't work. It will the profile won't jump a gap onto the path. So I'm going to make sure that in this instance that I snap to that middle centered point, and then I know that my profile will follow the path. So that was 100 up in a straight line. Now the next thing is a curve. Different sorts of curves we can use, different arcs. Got some options here depending on what your situation is. So a center point arc, if I knew exactly where the middle was going to be, if the middle was somewhere over here and I had a point, I could stick it there, snap it there, and I could create an arc. I don't know where the middle is in this example though, so that's maybe not the best one. 3-point arc's a good date that will connect between a couple of places. So if you wanted to go between there and another place and put a radius, that would work. But what I need is the tangent arc I'm going to go for. You could do either, you can work it out. Tangent's going to connect the end of that line, and it's going to bring it up so that comes out at tangentially to the line, so it's directly above it. There we go. Radius of 50, and I need to make sure that that's vertically above there. So I'm going to use this constraint here. There's lots of different constraints. I can see that this is a front, so this is up and down. So if I put a vertical constraint on that, it's going to make that and that again line up and down the way. There we go. Next, sweep tool, extrude along a path, faces and sketches and regions to sweep. So that's the profile, that's the shape. It's that one. And then the next thing is jumped here. So what I need to do now is click this box, and this is the path. This is the line it's going to follow. So I have to click all the bits on the line. If you got one wrong, remember you can always take it off and put it back on again. So, and there we go. Okay, there's my sweep. So I've gone up a straight line and I've gone around that curve. It's pretty straightforward. Only other thing I would say, if I look at task 2, here's task 2. So we're going to come up and along and down. There's a radius on the corner. How do we do that? If I show you the one I did earlier, here it is. It's going to look something like that. And the way I did it, again, I started with my profile here, which was the circle. When I drew my sketch, though, if I just go into that sketch, you'll see I've snapped on the same point, so I've gone through the same center point. What I've actually found over time is if you've got a curve like this, it's much easier to put it on in the sketch, because if you tried to do it afterwards, you'd have a sharp corner. How do you curve that sweep? You've got to make this path. So what I did, I just drew the 60 up, 120 along, and then the 60 back down, and then I used the fillet tool, which is this one here. So you can select that one, you can click 2 lines, click again, and it'll let you then put in a size, in this instance 10, and I did the same on that corner there as well, clicked it, and it then matches it to the same as the one you've just done. I'll maybe just show you quickly what we'll do with 2 lines. So if I've got 2 lines, there's my corner, get my fillet tool, I'm going to click here, I'm going to click here, it gives me a funny little symbol, which means you've got to click again the left click. That gives me the option to change the size, press enter. Now if I was to go to my next line, click, do the same, it would come up with that same size. So you don't need to put it in for the same for the other ones. And what that means is that if I have got, if I change that look, this one will change as well. So that's the second one. So you'll need to think about putting those shapes in to get the curves. Okay, any questions? Get in touch. If not, if you can work through those 3 tasks and then have a look at the extension task as well, that would be good. If you struggle with the extension task, give me a shout. I can give you some tips. That's quite hard, so that's maybe a challenge. We'll maybe see if any of you manage to do that. Okay, I'll leave it for you there. I hope you get on fine with those jobs. Okay.